Going live, going live. Damn, I'm live again. Yo, what up? Good morning, y'all. Good morning, world. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning to everybody out there. I don't know how my volume is. Notice I speak quiet because it's the morning. This is the new variant. The new variant of the Hannas cast out here. Good morning with B. Hannas. I am B. Hannas, running it up on his YouTube John. I am Nikki B. Hannas. I am the host of this. You can find my music. I make music, heavy blues metal, hard rock and roll. NikkiBHannas.com, NikkiBHannas.bandcamp.com, Nikki B. Hannas on all streaming services. I got me some coffee. What's up, everybody? What's up, YouTube? I'm going to keep continuing this YouTube content creation experiment of mine, which I did for a little while with the Hannas cast, but it's all down now. We're moving forward, man. It is a Wednesday morning, but it feels like a Tuesday morning. Thank you to the holiday weekend. throws everything off out here in the working world. But I was very happy to have some time off. And, yesterday morning I got up and decided to get back on the horse, get back and try it. Because it left a bad taste in my mouth doing this YouTube thing and then quitting. My model, I believe, was unsustainable. It was not one that I was excited about, which is fine. You live and learn. You try things, you throw shit at a wall and you see what sticks. And what didn't stick was the way I'd regimented it and what I was trying to do, which was aimless and without form and a little too improv. I like improv. I like winging it. I like doing it off the cuff. Keeps it live, keeps it raw, keeps it organic, keeps it real, But I like this better, I think. At the present tense. At the present tense, I like this better. Makes sense to fit this into the morning thing. And out of all the people that I've listened to on YouTube over the years, there was one dude, kind of a goofy guy, but I've learned a good amount. These people out here in the YouTube sphere, it's like, it's one of the good things of the internet, I think. As bad as the internet can possibly be for us, and oftentimes is, as detrimental as it can be for society, and oftentimes is, there's a tremendous amount of good that comes out of it. One of those things is having a massive, unending, unceasing, just huge pool of voices and opinions and shows out there as it is. The one guy I liked for a little while back in, I still like him from time to time, George Bruno. Shout out George Bruno. He would do the morning show, he called it. And he was always up at like 5. My man was getting up super early, getting on the YouTube and talking to the people. I like that. That's kind of the model that I think will work. Because like I said, I've always struggled as a morning person. I've never been good at it. I've always gotten the bases covered. When I was drinking, I'm coming up on 2 years sober in a couple months, which is, thank God for that. The best thing I ever did was get sober, get off the booze, stop smoking weed, stop doing blow, all that bullshit. It's also bad for you, So when you're living that kind of life, being a morning person, shit, that's just like, I don't know how people do it. Some people can do it, but not me. I'm working in the food business, playing rock and roll, running wild in these streets out here in the suburbs. Yeah, man, I'm used to getting up at the last possible minute, procrastinate. But since I got sober, there's a natural learning curve to be had where you have to reaccommodate, really rewire every system of habits, because that's all. Life seems to be just a series of habits and systems and stories that create the story that we tell ourselves, and that dictates how we live. Every single action begets a day, and how you live a series of days is evidently that's how you live your life. What you do on a daily basis will define you, even if you don't want it to. That emotional part of us, that sentimental part of us, I think, says we're not defined by what we do. Motherfucker, yeah, you are. Yes, you are. And that goes to anything. How do you identify yourself? If you're a guitar player and you don't play much guitar, you ain't much of a guitar player. If you're a songwriter and you ain't written a bunch of songs, you ain't much of a songwriter. Come on. You're a performer without performing. Interesting. So, in any event, that's part of the rewriting and continued authorship of my story. I'd like to be a morning person. But it's, for me, one of the things that struggles with is like, I'm no stranger to exercise. I exercise all the time, but it's not always so motivating to get up. Like today's a rainy midday. It's Wednesday morning. It's rainy. It's drizzling out. It should be summer, but it's a little chilly out and it's all good. But like, what makes you want to get out of bed? And that's not even just a weather question. That's like, excuse me, that's like the existential question. I don't got a wife and kids. I don't got a hustling, bustling family. I don't have a dog to go walk. So like what makes you get out of bed? Am I always so excited to get up and go work out? Man, I admire people who are. I'm not always super chipper. I don't wake up smiling. I don't wake up ready to go, happy. But I'd like to. I'd like to. But you got, it takes a lot of work to turn yourself into that person. You got to turn yourself into that person who's up and at it. Do I have a reason to get out of bed? Yeah, there's always reasons to get out of bed, idiot. Find them. But then it's like, you got to make your own meaning sometimes. And that sounds like some communist postmodern bullshit. You got to make your own meaning to this life. Get up, do something. So what I'd like to do, what I'm trying to do today is day 2 of implementing it successfully. Get up and throw that weighted jacket on, go take my walk. Usually about 40, 45 minutes or so. It's a couple miles under my feet with some added weight resistance first thing in the morning. Do a little bit of reading. Get on here and talk to the people. And where I was trying to go for an hour twice a week on the Hannas cast in its first iteration. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Eventually I found myself just stretching, trying to just make it happen at all costs. And it was playing with my brain, man. And that's a human shortcoming. That's a human shortcoming, dude. Our brains can do beautiful things and can do ugly things too. And I feel like a bitch for it, but it is what it is. It's a learning curve, dude. And this is being on YouTube and talking into a microphone or whatever. It's a communicated. It's an art of communication. And if I'm communicating nothing but compelling myself to do it, you're grinding into something that doesn't really require a grind. You're just babbling. I'm babbling right now, but this still feels better. So I got up and got after it. Went from a nice quiet walk with the relaxing sound of the rain, the catharsis of a rainy, dreary morning, threw that windbreaker on and was just getting my steps in, man. And then here come the school buses, here come the trash trucks, here comes all the disruptive machinery of modern society, which is all good. I was listening to Dan Pena, the $1 billion man. He was on Dropping Bombs with Brad Lee. I listen, Dan Pena's he's a funny motherfucker for one. For two, I mean, shit. I feel like a poor sometime. I think the concept of the pores or being a poor is so funny. I would like to not be a poor my whole life, but listening to someone like Dan Pena, it's like, dude, I should extract every small iota of meaning I can from this man's words. What a hard, old school gangster of a man, dude. Whether you agree with him or not, whether you politically like him or emotionally or morally like him or not, that's a hard motherfucker. We should all do well to listen to hard motherfuckers. And I like Bradley's show, but Dan Pena on it especially is real good. And he was talking about how he lost faith generally in humanity, thinks that humans peaked about 10, 15 years ago or whatever. The point that he had said with that was that, we're soft. Homo sapien is the only species that starts to feel sorry for itself. Fucking amen. Fucking A, he's right. And that's what I'd learned when I was doing the Hannas cast, trying to be something I'm not, or thinking I was past where I'm at in a new endeavor, even, starting to feel sorry for myself like a bitch. He made the point. He's like, you can ride a fucking horse until the horse dies. Birds will fly until they die and drop from the fucking sky. And humans are the only ones that feel sorry for ourselves. Interesting. I thought that was a good point. And, just listening to motherfuckers on YouTube. And every time I do, I want to contribute a little bit. So this is the morning experiment. Quick 5-10 minutes. shout out to the people. Drink my cup of coffee. Still got the sunglasses on though. You know what I'm saying? So that's today's good morning, be honest. Let me take one more sip of my coffee and take the excerpt from the book before I'm out this motherfucker. So apparently trees fell down in my neighborhood, so I got to roll. What's up, EMP? My boy, what's up, dog? Good morning to you, sir. Coming in at the end today. What's that? What is that? Coffee? Yeah, buddy. You already know. So on one end, I'm listening to Dan Pena. I don't know if you know Dan Pena, EMP, but I was listening to Dan Pena on Brad Lee's podcast this morning on my walk. It's a good one. Ride that horses will fucking be ridden until they die. Humans feel sorry for themselves. That's the great existential dilemma summed up. Anyway, he's on one end of the polarity. You got hard motherfuckers like Dan Pena cursing and calling people cunts and shit, living in a castle in Scotland, the $1 billion man. Then you got Vincent Norman Peale, who's a minister and a preacher and a good man all around, giving godly sage-like advice. We're all somewhere in the middle, I think. Today is May 28th. In the Positive Thinking Everyday book, what we got? When uncontrolled, your mind can be very damaging to you. But when controlled, it can develop unlimited power. That's right. That's right, baby. Power unsurpassed. Human potential is good. As long as we don't fucking suck, feel bad for ourselves, and be pussies. So that's my words of wisdom today. That's my words of wisdom today before I get out of here, deal with this fallen tree traffic, and get to the gym. Doing fucking quads and hamstrings today, which is going to be an intense one. Get under that squat rack, baby. Let's get it. Happy Wednesday. Yo, EMP, you're the man. Keep it real. Keep it motherfucking real. One love. Peace out. Till next time. Later.